Welcome back to Hockey Talk. I am Mr. Harvoth. Like I said, it's rare that I come on PC3 radio. Normally, this is Mr. Jennings' territory, but, for special occasions like Hockey Talk, I always need to know what's going on in the world of hockey. And before the break, we were talking about the big Notre Dame-Michigan State game at the Compton Family Ice Arena taking place later tonight, senior night. But there's a big game that took place about a week and a half ago between the USA and Canada. It was a four nations face-off, which took the place of the normal NHL All-Star festivities. So, Matt, let's talk about that championship game. We know who are the four countries in that four nations face-off again. Refresh our memory.
All right. So, United States, which was USA, they were in blue. Canada was in red. Sweden was in yellow, and Finland was white.
All right. So, as we know, that championship game all came down to the USA against Canada. And with Canada, they call hockey their hometown sport. That is their bread and butter over there up north, the Great White North, as some would like to call it. So, Matt, go ahead. I'm all ears. Your listeners are out here. Let's recap the USA versus Canada championship game.
All right, so for the championship game, they did very well. Connor McDavid scored the overtime game winner for the Four Nations Face-Off championship game, and it was the Oilers captain Connor McDavid who just scored, and he was number 97, if I'm not mistaken, but it was really interesting how they did score.
Now, let me interrupt you, Matt. There might be some listeners out there that may not know which nation Connor McDavid represents. Which side was he on?
He was on Canada.
Oh, no.
Because, Canada actually did make a big impact. And I was surprised to see how Canada actually beat United States. For the Four Nations face-off that took place a week and a half ago at TD Garden in Boston, which was home of the Bruins.
Now, there was a lot of back and forth action in that championship game. The game prior, the semifinal, within the first minute, it was like 3 fights broke out at the beginning of that game?
Yeah, I figured it was because, something must have happened before the puck actually dropped.
It's a lot of animosity right now on the ice between these two countries, and they really. They were booing the USA national anthem. Matt, how did that make you feel?
It just kind of felt like disappointed.
I'm sure everybody's sitting back there and looking like, oh man, controversy is going to create some cash, and we're generating some interest amongst USA hockey fans to kind of see what would happen. So Connor McDavid, the star in that championship game, Matt, tell us a little bit about his background. You said he plays for the Oilers. He's one of the NHL's shining stars, and he really came through for his home country of Canada.
Yeah, so Connor McDavid did actually play for the Edmonton Oilers. And when he was a kid, he actually played in the, I believe was the OHL, which was the Erie Otters. Then he actually got drafted. Then he actually played some more hockey as well. And then he did eventually sign with the Oilers. And then he actually became the first player to reach, I believe, 1,000 games, if I'm not mistaken, but he was actually one of the greatest players of all time. Unlike Gretzky, which, speaking of the GOAT.
Greatest of all time, Wayne Gretzky.
And spoiler alert, Ovechkin is 10 goals away from breaking Gretzky's hat trick.
Whoa. Okay. Back up there a second, Matt. Let's rewind this because we're going to a brand new topic here. So let's go back. What record does Wayne Gretzky have right now that Alexander Ovechkin is chasing? What's happening?
So, for, this year, so Gretzky hosts, the most world record of a staggering number of hat tricks he has in his career before he retired in the NHL. But I got to tell you, it's no joke that, Ovechkin still has so many hat tricks, but he's getting close to breaking Gretzky's record. So he's getting close.
So you're telling me right now he's 10 hat tricks away from breaking Gretzky's record?
Yeah, he's 10 goals away, so that's probably why you don't see that every day, but he's getting close. He's on the chase, the grade 8 chase. That's what you call him, the grade 8 chase.
All right. So for fans that might be tuning into Hockey Talk, okay, tell them what a hat trick means.
So a hat trick is like 3 goals scored in one game where a player shoots a wrist shot, a slapper, or one-timer. If that puck goes right into the net 3 times, fans throw their hats on the ice, and that is considered a hat trick.
All right, 3 goals per game. Man, that's tough to do, especially at the professional level. So we can see why Wayne Gretzky is still considered the GOAT. Am I right?
Yeah, you're correct. But still, yeah. So that is probably why Ovechkin is getting close to breaking, the record of Wayne Gretzky.
All right. So if someone's that close to the GOAT, we need to hear a little bit more about him. So tell us, Matt, tell us about Alex Ovechkin. Who does he play for? What status does he have? And what can you tell us about Alex Ovechkin?
So Alex Ovechkin is one of those players who was born in Moscow, Russia, just like, one of those professional goalies who was also born in Russia named Igor Shesterkin, the Rangers goaltender who was also born in Moscow, Russia. And I gotta tell you, Alex Ovechkin is one of those players who is really good, and he is getting close to breaking the record.
Does he have any Stanley Cup championships yet?
He actually won in 2018 when they beat the Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay, all right. So he's got that championship ring. He's tasted out of the Stanley Cup before. So now he's trying to chase records and possibly even overtake the greatest of all time. So, Matt, we're starting to run short on time here at Hockey Talk. Coming up pretty soon, we've got playoff season heading our way at the collegiate and the professional level. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, but Matt, tell your viewers, tell your listeners, tell us what playoff time means to you.
So playoff time only happens in April, as known as Easter. It is also April Fool's Day, but it is also Stanley Cup season as well, because not only it's college level, but also professional level as well as is coming up in April. And starting in the Kelly Cup playoffs, the Kelly Cup will be making its first tour in Bloomington, Illinois, with 2 new teams, with the Bloomington Bison and, of course, the Tahoe Night Monsters, who just joined in the ECHL.
All right, so we got the amateur level, we've got the collegiate level, and we've got the professional level. Matt, let's go back to that professional level here one more time, the NHL. What teams, for those of you that are out there trying to make your Vegas bets and trying to get odds on these teams, what teams can the fans out there kind of look forward to that are going to make a big impact and possibly have a chance to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup come June?
I believe it would have to be more something like, I would definitely would be hopefully to say, for the Eastern Conference, hopefully their first Stanley Cup would be either the Columbus Blue Jackets in the Metropolitan Division. Another one would be the New York Rangers. Hopefully they will raise their second Stanley Cup in 20 years. And hopefully the Washington Capitals in 20 years in their second Stanley Cup.
Okay, what about the Western Conference?
In the Western Conference, hopefully, I would have to say...
Not the Blackhawks this year.
No, but I would definitely say their first Stanley Cup would have to be either, I would say the Utah Hockey Club, but also Minnesota Wild, their first Stanley Cup. But yeah, I got to tell you, it's just really good, but also I know the Blues have won the Stanley Cup for the first time in 2019 to this day in 2019, which was around 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 years ago, depending on how many years it was, but still considered to this day.
Okay, so some possible contenders in each conference. I'll tell you, Matt, I heard the Utah Hockey Club mentioned in there. That would kind of break my heart because I've been an old school Phoenix Coyotes / Arizona Coyotes fan ever since they moved from Winnipeg years and years ago, back in like 96, 97, when I was actually in Phoenix when that change happened. But now they're the Utah Hockey Club. There is no more hockey in the desert, so we'll have to see how the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs shake out coming up in the month of April. We're just a month away. Can you believe it? A month away.
Yes, I can't believe it, but still, here we are, getting close to the end of February, but the beginning of March.
All right, and that only leaves us one more month until the playoffs. And speaking of the end, Matt, I think we've come to the end of another episode of Hockey Talk. Remember, coming up tonight, I'm talking about tonight, the Compton Family Ice Arena. It's senior night, Coach Jackson's final game. The top-ranked Michigan State Spartans come to South Bend to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We're going to hope to have some PC3 coverage of that game. At least we will have a recap coming up on Hockey Talk if we're not able to make it out there. And also coming up, we have the playoffs starting in the minor leagues as well as the collegiate level. And, of course, in April, it's Stanley Cup season, right, Matt?
That's right.
All right, so a lot to look forward to over the next couple of months. Matt, any final thoughts from the world of hockey?
I got to tell you, it's just, really interesting how some of these, players are very well designed for professional hockey. But also, March is also March Madness, NCAA basketball.
Right. That's right. So we go from hockey to basketball. A lot of March Madness fun coming up, and some March Madness fun here coming up as well on PC3. We've got a lot of fun and games, and also our big Couts sectional next week taking place at Couts High School. 7 teams vying for a sectional championship. PC3 will have live video coverage of all 7 games beginning next Tuesday. So Matt, comes to an end of another episode of Hockey Talk. We want to thank our producer Emerson behind the board. Matt, as always, it's been a pleasure.
It's certainly my pleasure to have you on, Mr. Harvoth.
I appreciate it each and every time. I love coming in here and talking hockey with our PC3 hockey expert himself. So for PC3 Radio, I am Mr. Harvoth. This is
Matt Isley,
and we'll see you next time.